Hey guys, welcome back to Handmade with Tara. I'm Tara, a stay-at-home mom to 3 beautiful boys and an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up in the United States. And tonight I'm going to do a tutorial for one of a kind. And this is an advanced tutorial using previous stamp stuff plus new stuff plus any stuff that I have that I want to use. So I just have fun with it, and if you have all this stuff, this is going to be fun for you. This catalog right here, the mini catalog, the newest catalog from September to December that just went live. And the one of a kind bundle is on page 45. So, and it comes with the stamps you see, and then it just comes with 2 dies here. And I'm going to show you a couple of fun things to do with this set here, and I am gonna jump right into it. So I'm gonna just set this aside and I'll show you the designs I have for tonight. So I have this one, this one, this one, so these 3 here, and then I will have a bonus one as well at the end. So for all of these cards, I will just point out that I do use standard measurements of 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored all the cards at 4 1/4. And I also use like the top layer on all of them is 5 1/4 by 4, as well as the insert on all of them. And then everything else that you see are dies that I've used that are new or previous dies. And then I'm also going to use some ribbon, some embellishments. So we're going to go from there. So I will start with this card here, and this one I used the biggest stamp here, and then I also use this new Painted Trees 3D embossing folder. So, and it's a very simple card. I'll show you fairly quickly how to do this. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and emboss this top layer here with the Painted Trees embossing folder. First things first. Okay, step 1 is done. I can put this aside. Alright, so and I'm just going to attach this to my card base, which again is 8.5 by 5.5 and scored at 4 1/4. And like that. And what I'm going to do too, while I have this, is I'm going to do like a fake ribbon, so a faux bow, whatever you want to say. So that is, I'm going to attach this to the back and pull it around like so before I attach it. Like that. I'm even going to, I'm just going to use a little bit of washi tape to hold that into place, since that glue is not quite gonna hold it tight enough, I don't think. So I'm just gonna use some washi tape. Like so. Does not have to be perfect, because we're going to cover this up like that. And then we're going to attach that right to the front of the card first. Okay. And then I used your one-of-a-kind wonderful friend on this. And actually, I guess placement of the trees does matter, because I'm going to end up changing my placement for that stamp. And I will show you what I mean. So I used Balmy Blue, which is the same color as this cardstock. And your a one-of-a-kind friend. So let me just show you how I can adjust this, and it'll still end up working out. It'll be fine. So we can do it right there in the middle, or you can even do it all the way to one side if you liked. I think in the middle is where I'm going to try it. You're a one-of-a-kind, wonderful friend. I'm going to clean this off. That. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to do my snowflake, and I did use my embossing tool for this part. So I'm going to use my Versamark. And we're going to stamp this on like that. Set that aside and pull it in. My embossing tools. And okay, we can set that aside. Okay. Just get rid of that. And then what I'm going to do is just let that dry for a second. I am going to grab some more ribbon. Make a bow. like this. And just kind of work with it until it gets to where you want it to be. Sometimes it's cooperating and sometimes it's not, which is okay. And just kind of angle that a little bit so that looks how you want it. Like that. And then I'm just going to use a little glue dot to get that on there actually. And then you can put it on either side really, so it doesn't really matter. And then whatever side you use it on, we're just going to put the snowflake beside it. So I'm going to put it here. And then I'm going to use the die to go ahead and cut this out. All right, so now I have my snowflake, and I just put this on a dimensional. And I like to use 3 just to make sure it's and then we can just attach this any which way you like so, and this card is done. So I think even before I say it's done, I'm going to grab some of the rhinestone basic jewels. And I'm going to add a couple of these. Obviously, I love these jewels. And they definitely look wintry to me. Just like that. And this card now is done. Just like that. So just like I said, like the placement of the words is a little bit different and the placement of the bow a little bit different, but you get the idea. Close enough. And kind of neat techniques going on all over here. And I love this ribbon and everything looks really snowy to me. Card number 1 is done. So, next card. So I like to put my card with an envelope and then I like to put it in a sleeve, and that way it's ready to go get mailed. Okay. So if you are new here and you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to subscribe. We're going to go ahead and work on this one next. Super simple, beautiful, different colored snowflakes. Make it fun. So I just have a scrap piece of white And then this is my card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25, and my top layer is 5.25 by 4. This one is going to get embossed. Again, we're going to use the Snowflake Sky 3D embossing folder. That is the first thing that I'm going to do. Okay, so now that's got a beautiful background for us to work with. And then this one I can go ahead and attach down onto my card base. And so my card has a beautiful backdrop here. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use this scrap piece, and I'm going to use this set here. This is Greetings of the Season dies. So Greetings of the Seasons, and they look like this. And I'm going to use this big guy right here. And I'm going to go ahead and cut a little piece of this out. I'm going to go ahead and emboss that. Okay, so now I have a background here to work with too. Set this aside. And I can save this and still use this on other things, but I'm going to create some snowflakes now. So I have another piece of scrap paper, and we'll do some stamping here. So the color that I use for this is Bubble Bath. Just tap, tap, tap. Stamp there, and I actually did 2. Stamp there. Just like that. I'm going to clean this off with my Simply Chamois. And then I'm going to set this aside for a second because I'm also going to use this Blackberry Bliss. So I have that ready to go. And then I'm actually going to use both of these. I'm going to use Blackberry Bliss for my words here. Thank you for your kindness. Right at the bottom. Just like that. I mean, I could have done a little higher. I could have lined it up a little bit better, but it's all right. And then I'm going to use, I use this little guy, and I'm just going to do some little swirls. And I just kind of like turn it around. Just like that. go ahead and clean this off. Set these aside. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use those dies again. And I'm going to use both dies this time. So for the big one, for the small one. Like that. These out. Okay, so now I have these two snowflakes. So I can pop out. And then I'm just going to use my take your pick tool. And I'm just going to pop out all these little pieces. Just like that. Okay, and then I used a little bit of Wink of Stella to add some sparkles to my snowflakes. Just like that. Super simple, just a little touch. And then I'm going to use some twine, some linen thread, I'm sorry. So this is just linen thread. And I used enough to make 2 side-by-side bows. So it's about, let's see, like 15 inches. Like that. And then again, I just mess with it until it looks like how I want it to look. And like that, maybe. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to use a little glue dot. Again, glue dot. And I just put this right on that opening of the tag there. Just like that. And then I'm going to add on my snowflakes with some dimensionals. And I kind of mess with my snowflakes so they kind of come alive here. 1 and 2, like so. And then I wanted to add in some adhesive back transparent dots here. So I wanted to bring in that blackberry color, so I grabbed a blackberry one, the big one. Maybe I want to do the small one this time, and then I'll use these clear looking ones for the big one and for this little swiggly down here. Just like that. And then I'm going to add this tag right to the front of my background here. And I did not put this up on dimensionals, I just did it flat on here with a little bit of glue and centered it up, but you can always go to one side or the other if you like that better. So I just put it right smack dab right in the middle. Just like that. And that is card number 2. You can shorten these if you want them to look more symmetrical to the other side. Doesn't have to be perfect, but beautiful card ready to send. It says thank you for your kindness. Beautiful snowy backdrop. Card number 2. You see that? Is done, and I like to add my envelope and a little sleeve so that it's ready to get mailed out whenever I need it. Card number 2 is done. Okay, moving right along, we are going to put together this last one here. This is what the card looks like here, and I use stamp cases to separate all my things here. So this one has a bunch of layers, which is really fun, and I did use some beautiful designer series paper on this one too, which I will show you. This designer paper is Country Lace 12 by 12. So country lace, and then it has a bunch of different patterns, but this is the one that I used here on top. And okay, so I used that one on top, and I also used this gray one here. And I used the back side, which has that basic beige color, basic beige. Just insert. I'm going to go ahead and add that to the middle. You can always stamp this if you need to, if you want to put something inside. I like to leave it blank until I'm ready to use it. So I can always add something if I need to later. It's definitely better to stamp before you attach, you know this. But if we don't know who it's going to, then we don't really know what we wanted to say. All right, now this piece is a little bit bigger than the 5 1/4 by 4. It's 4 1/8 by 5 and 1, 2, 3/8. Okay. So that is the base layer there. The next layer is the 5 1/4 by 4, the basic beige, and I'm going to emboss this part. And I use the embossing folder Forever Plaid 3G. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that through the embossing machine. Okay, so now my plaid embossing piece is done, and I can set this aside. And I'm going to use these dies again, the Greetings of the Season dies. And I did use this big one here, and I used this small one here. I can do these two. This one is basic beige scrap piece, and then this is the backdrop, the other side of this. So I'm going to run those through. So that's this piece and this piece. So I can set these aside. I can put these back in here. And then I used these beautiful Spotlight on Nature dies. And I use this piece right here. So I'm going to use this here, but I am going to stamp first. So, and then I did cut a little piece of that designer paper. It's 1.5 by 4. So this is 1.5 by 4. So we're creating all of our layers here. That's going to go there. And then this one I'm just going to stamp first before I cut it. So I used Misty Moonlight, Lost Lagoon are the two colors that I used here. So the card base and this top layer here. And I used these small snowflakes, and I did some stamping and stamping off. Stamp, stamp off like that. And then do the smaller one, stamping, stamp off, stamping, stamp off, stamp. Okay, so that should be good. And then I use the basic beige color too with these little fun swirls. So I just kind of filled in the space with them. Just like that. All right, so all these are cleaned off, and I'm going to now run this through the die cutting machine. My embosser. So this piece can go back away in here, and then we can start to build this up. I'm also going to use the Misty Moonlight to stamp my sentiment on here, which is this one. You have the merriest season ever. Tap, 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 and we're going to just line this up the best that we can. Firm press. Clean that off. Okay, so now let's build our card. So I did like a belly band here across this piece. Oops. I got a little bit of glue on my finger. There we go. And I'm just eyeballing this, so the best that I can. Just try to get that on there good, all the way across. Make sure it's even with that piece. And then I'm going to add my different layers. And again, I just kind of use that little dotted line to like help me line it up where I wanted it. And same with this one. Just gonna add this one right over top like that. Last but not least, I'm gonna add the sentiment kind of right over top of both of these. Like so. And then I added a little bit of ribbon, but before I do the ribbon, I'm going to attach this to my card base. Just like that. So lots of fun layers on this card. Lots of fun stuff going on. And I'm going to add a little bit of this Lost Lagoon ribbon here. And this one I'm actually gonna try to make my bow, and then I will cut it off. Let's see, because I don't want to waste any of my ribbon. I love this Lost Lagoon ribbon. It's really easy to work with. I say that before I'm done making my bow. Let me wait until I have a good bow before I say it's easy to work with. Yeah. Come on. Work with me here. It really is a nice ribbon. I like the texture of this ribbon. Yes, that's much better. There we go. There we go. So I think that's about right. And you can kind of work with it and pull it. I like to do angles. I know some people do. And then I'm just going to use a little glue dot. I used a lot of glue dots this time. And so you can put the ribbon up here if you like, but I chose to put it on the side of the tag here. And then I put a rhinestone in that other hole. So you can do either or. So I use these rhinestones again because I love the way they look. I think they look like they belong with snowflakes. And I'm just gonna, I'll just use this side. We'll put a big one there. Boop. And down. Might even do one here. There we go. So now this third card is done. So it looks difficult. It's got a lot of layers. So it takes a little bit of time, but I feel like the more work you do up front, the better the outcome. So it's kind of a neat looking card. I think I really like this layout. How cute. Love it. And then, as always, I'm going to take an envelope, which you can always stamp that if you like to match the card here. And then I just pop it in these sleeves to keep them organized. There we go. Done. And for the bonus card, let's see here. This is my bonus card. If you are still with me, I was really feeling this balmy blue color for the snowflakes. So I'm going to use that again. And I pulled out my perennial postage dies. So I'm going to show you how I made this. I use this big one here. Do the background. I also used the Spotlight on Nature dies. The same one, actually. I used this one on this card as well because I was really enjoying this. I love this set. I think it's so beautiful. And I am going to show you. So I did that through the embossing machine. This one I'm going to make some snowflakes with. The base is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4 again on a white base. And then this one here is the one I'm going to use with the perennial postage, but I am going to stamp first. So I'm going to set all that stuff aside. And I actually did this technique that I saw where you use the Versamark because it's a watermark stamp. And that's what I used in the background. So I just stamped this a couple of times and it just kind of makes the backdrop. Clean that off. Tiny one. Tiny one. And then squiggle. All right, so now I've created a backdrop, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this through the embossing machine as well as my vellum, and I'm also going to pull from this Greetings of the Season dies, and I actually organize. If I kept this organized, it'd probably be easier to get what I need. Right, like that, but I need this one. So let's do some die cutting, and I'm going to grab my snowflake, the smaller one, and I'm going to make 3 of the snowflake. So lots of die cutting in this workshop, but it makes for some really fun cards and designs. Okay, so now I have 3 of these snowflakes, some vellum that I can use as a little backdrop, and just organizing and putting my dies away so I remember where they go. And these, I really love these new dies here. These are super fun, super useful. And okay, so let me punch these out. And this I just used a scrap piece of paper to grab all these snowflakes. Same as this one, just a little scrap piece. And now I can start to build this card. Again, I used this, which I don't have very much left. I only have like a little tiny bit left. Let's see if I can get through this card. This is the silver and white ribbon, and this is my last little bit. So let's see how it looks. If I just add this to this, it's going to be more than I need. I think I could even do like a faux bow again. Let me get my washi tape. That seems to hold it on nicely. Like that. Pull it across. Like so. Cut this. Like this. Okay. And then I'm going to add a little piece where I'm just going to tie it. I think that's plenty. Save this for later. And before I tie it, I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to make sure this washi tape is on there good. And I'm going to kind of decide placement for this. Needs to be over here if I'm going to do this here. Okay. I don't like the way this is looking, so I'm going to do this again. This time I'm going to see if I can't tie it so that it comes down this way. Just need to do the opposite of what I did before. There we go. Now it's kind of coming away. And I can kind of wiggle that down. So, all the way to one side. Okay, so the snowflakes, I'm just going to use my take your pick tool to push all these little pieces out. So, there we go. That looks cool. There we go. This tool has come in handy so much for these little guys. Okay. So, all right. So I'm going to bring in my background piece here. This is going to go on here, and I actually did pop this up on dimensionals. So, gonna make sure that I do lots, and I'm gonna make sure that that is held on good. You can kind of do less or more if you want, but okay, so look at that. That's kind of cool background here. Push that onto there. And then I'm going to add my vellum right here. And actually I'm going to use a little bit of Stampin' Seal. I'm going to add this on. Like this. And then you can see through the vellum, so I like to use my snowflakes to cover that up. And I'm just going to use dimensionals. I think I glued them down on that first one. I'm going to see what it looks like with the dimensionals here. I definitely glued them on the first one. But let's see if we like this. That looks cute. And then I'm going to clear my trash here. Yeesh. So that's coming together very nicely. So before I attach this, I actually used some of this blue Misty Moonlight trim. And what I did was I attached it onto here. And I actually should stamp it first. So I'm going to stamp this first using a little something just for you. Again, I used the light balmy blue. And I'm just going to stamp this. Sentiment tag. I've been waiting for a sentiment tag like this long one. Finally, I'm so happy. We finally got one. And then I'm just gonna add this through here. So I like having the little tag, but I also, I'd rather it not come with a hole so that I can add my own. If I want to add a hole, I can add a hole. If I don't want to add a hole, I don't have to have a hole. But then I kind of attached this to this. So, and I just tied it around this little bow here. I just keep pulling until it's on there good. And then I actually used a little dimensional to hold it into place. So put that on there, and then we can get it to stand straight up across the snowflakes like so. It's not exactly perfect to the other one, but it looks cool to me. I don't have to be perfect. It's a handmade card, but I am going to add a little bit of rhinestones again. So lots of fun rhinestone basic jewels for this. And actually, you can add more if you want to add more. But that is the fourth card. So cute. So easy, so simple. Just a couple of die cuts. That Versamark water mark stamp made really beautiful backdrop. And all the blues and the silvers just looks so pretty, just like snowflakes. So, envelope and sleeve. Ready to mail. All right. So I'm going to bring them all back here. Bonus card. These. Look how beautiful. Got some wonderful cards ready for the season. So, if you like this tutorial, make sure that you like and subscribe to my channel, and you'll be notified when I post new videos. I try to do at least once a month. I do have small children at home, so I sometimes am not as on schedule as I'd like to be, but I try the best that I can with what I got. So hopefully you liked this and you got some good ideas for some fun cards to do or scrapbook pages to do. And I hope you enjoyed this and have a great night. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.